Hello YouTube, James Green, Short Series Shenanigans, episode 2 of the American Rotary Phase Converter installation. So, off camera, I went ahead and got the box hung up on the wall over there with the assistance of an individual. The knockouts were, and I'll kind of recap, really easily. So I will say, if you try to do it by yourself, it'll be cumbersome. One thing I would suggest, maybe, if you wanted to do it by yourself, you might, you've seen on things like on the back of items where they have like a larger hole and then it goes up to a slot where you might be able to, if you wanted to create some little cutouts like that to where you could go up and then hang it and then tighten it on, and then just at the bottom too, just leave them like they are and then just put the screws in. So if you wanted to do that, you could. I had my buddy Chad come by. Thank you, Chad, I appreciate it. He came by and helped me hang it up there. So definitely a two-person job. Trying to do it by yourself, especially me, you know, have the old arm issue. So if you have difficulty lifting things, and it's not that heavy, it's just that it's cumbersome and it's large. So trying to do it by yourself, difficult. The workaround for that would be, like I talked about, creating a smaller hole at the bottom and bring it up so that way it'll fit over the head of your fastener that you're going to use. So we've got the motor up here on the bench. I'm going to go ahead, and I've got it upside down, and we'll start off with what we talked about in the manual. And when I say manual, for future reference, I'm always going to be referring to this manual. Like I said, read the manual, go through it. Depending on your application, things can vary. They talk about in here with installing the isolation feet. Now, they have worked with, this is actually made by Baldor, or Gen-Tech is manufactured by Baldor. So they actually worked with them and helping design a motor that would be very low noise. And we're going to see here in this series of videos when we get done with it. So we're going to go ahead and put the isolation feet on, because you do not mount this directly down to like the floor or a wooden fixture. This is where it needs to have its to be able to vibrate freely. And what they talk about in their manual is that makes the bearings in the motor last longer. They also state that when starting this up, if this motor begins to shake violently for some reason, turn it off. There's an issue. Now you have to be careful, and I'll show you guys. This motor actually has grease zerks for it, that's pretty cool. So we'll go ahead and put these on and we'll roll it over. Because again, the only thing I've done off camera, other than get ready with my strain connectors and stuff like this, is I've mounted the box on the wall. So we'll go ahead and get right here a little bit. Get our wrench. It's a 9/16 head. Just tighten these down. Doesn't take a whole lot. Again, all you're doing is holding the feet. Some people get carried away with, they got to tighten. You're not trying to hold the world down. You're just holding some rubber feet on the motor. So, being very carefully, and I'm watching the mounts here and the greasers. So, all right. Now, I will move you guys around here so you can get the light to see what I'm talking about. Okay, I've had some people ask about the motor data on this, and I'll try to zoom in so you guys can get a look at. Okay. So, on the information here, again, Gen-Tech is actually made by Baldor, okay? Phase converters. It's an induction generator. It gives your specifications: kilowatt, 3.7 kilowatt, 5 horsepower. It's a 230 or 460 motor. It gives your amps, 13.2. If you're running on 230 or if you're running 460, it'll give you 6.6 amps. It runs at 1800 RPM, full load, and it gives you all your other technical data here. This motor is made in the USA. And it also gives your other wiring diagram here. I'll go ahead and back out. Whoop. Back out a little bit as far as how the legs need to be wired. Now, again, I am not a licensed electrician, and I am going to go by the manual. And if I ever at any time have any questions, Chris over at American Rotary said, look, we have 24-hour support. Obviously, I'm not going to try to call him in the middle of the night, but depending on where you're at, because they do ship around the world, guys. American Rotary does ship, you know, as far as overseas, from what I understand. Contact them to verify, make sure, but depending on where you're at in the world, you know, or let's say you're working at a plant and you happen to be a maintenance guy and it's middle of the night and you have a question about, they've got 24-hour support. So we're going to go ahead, one of the next things we're going to do, and I'll do it up here on the bench and open it up and get it ready so we can see, because we're going to take and set this over, well actually we'll go ahead and wire the pigtail in here, okay, and I got to do some preparations for the pigtail. Let's go ahead and open this up. This is 1/4 inch or a flat-headed screwdriver. Let me go ahead and get my stuff here. Move these out of the way. I've had this little set forever. Handy, handy, handy. So go ahead and put this in. Pull this off. I need to get some more of those little magnetic trays. They're handy as all get out. Okay, so that's the first time that's been opened up. We'll take a look at. Lots of wires. Wow. Okay. So I'm going to have to educate myself about which wire goes to which leg and where and why and how come and all that. So they've got them paired off. So I'm going on the presumption that, okay, we have, and they're marked really nicely. Let me get you guys over here to where you can see what I'm talking about. Sorry, I thought I had the camera set up. I want to make sure I document this for you guys, so that way everybody can see what's going on. Now I will zoom in here a little bit so you guys can see. Now this was all balled up in here, and this can seem overwhelming, and you just have to slow down and look at, okay, low voltage, base tension, or high voltage, or yeah, high voltage or low voltage. Whether you have it set up, whether you want it to run 230 or 460. So common sense, or me, the way I would dumb it down, okay, let me back this out. When they talk about over here on the motor, 230 or 460, okay, because you can have this put out whatever voltage. So I'm going to go under the presumption that on this tag here on your legs, your low voltage is going to be 230 and your high voltage is going to be 460. I'm going to, with my basic knowing of AC electrical, that's what I know. So they do already have several of these paired off here, and let's see, let's just look at, and they're actually numbered really nicely. I'll zoom in here where you guys can get a look at, so you guys can see. For those of you that are electricians out there, okay, you can see they've got number, you can see the number 2 and the number 8. Okay, so that's a leg, 2 and 8. So right there, that already tells me they've went ahead and paired these off right now, so that this, I'm going to go into the presumption. Let's go ahead and keep checking here. We have number 7, and this blue one is number 1, 1 and 7, and then we have these 3, which are going to be the top up here, which is 6, 5, and 4. 4, 5, 6, and then we have 3 and 9. So it's already set up according to, and I'll try to get you over here where you can see what I'm talking about, so the light won't wash it out, because I really want to make sure this is very informative to everybody. Okay, what we were talking about, you can see here on the diagram, everything was already pre-matched off for low voltage. Okay, so if your application requires, so it's already set up for the legs here, and I've got to educate myself on which leg goes into which wire into the box, and I'm going to have to do that off camera and figure that out. So if your application required you to run on high voltage, let's say this needed to output at 430 volt or 460 volts, then you would change that, and these would all be connected over here as such. So they already came set up for the low voltage setup. So again, this is where I'm not a licensed electrician, and sometimes people get overwhelmed and go, ooh, wait a minute. And I am too, honestly. I hated I had a horrible algebra teacher in high school. It wasn't until college till I got some good, you know, teachers that taught me. So I don't know, and I've got to look at, okay, what goes to what leg. Again, I'm still learning the whole three-phase, how to wire properly, and so, you know, I'm not just going to go hooking wires together. But this is a case where, hey, I have a question. First, I'm going to look through all my information in my manual, and then I'm also going to look through all the information in the online at their website, because they've got a lot of videos. So I'll go in there and look at it. I haven't watched all their videos. They've got a lot of them. So I'm going to take some time to watch videos so that I know I can come back and say, hey guys, this is how it goes. But in the meantime, because like I said, I wanted to do all this on camera. So one of the other things I did was I went down and got some more strain connectors. Now, if you guys remember from my other video, this was the piece that was on that other idler motor. Now, I had to replace that because that's what used to go onto the piece that was into the motor. So we're going to reutilize this because it was already there. What I have to do is go in here and, because I need to remove some of this so I have enough room to pull my wires up inside both boxes. So I've already got that on there, and I'll show you how they go on. If you guys have never messed with this stuff, it can be challenging. So what I'm going to do, what I have done in the past with this, you grab out your old Klein pliers, and I'm going to take back quite a bit. Actually, let's grab, here we go, it's right there. First, let's remove, because I want to take back quite a bit. I want to go back to about here, so we're going to take about 3 or 4 inches off. Now you can, what you should do, let's go ahead and do it and start talking about it. Let's pull all those wires back out. What we should do is just, they're far enough out of the way. What you could do at that point is, and cut it with a hacksaw. We could do that. Okay. You grab a hacksaw. Actually, better yet. No, we'll do a hacksaw. Okay, we'll get out our old Starrett hacksaw. And we know we've pulled the wires back far enough they're not in here. Because you don't want this all twisted and crooked, because then it makes it difficult to get your string connector on. So you could, if you wanted to, use a zip disc on a grinder. You don't want to take and snap that and then spread it all. My hands just don't work like they used to. You know what? I am going to go ahead and use the zip disc on here to cut this. Let me go ahead and move the camera so you guys can see what's going on here. And I will demonstrate. Get my face shield on because I'm going to be using the grinder here. Take the hat off. So I always keep a zip disc handy on the on this little grinder just for that. So we got the wires pulled back far enough. That was a lot quicker than fighting it with a hacksaw. So there we go. Alright. Back over this direction so you guys can see what we got going on. Sorry about the bouncing around. Like I said, I wanted to show you guys everything on here. So now we go back to feeding the wires through. Before I get too much of it in the way, what I'm going to do first is go ahead and put in, and the reason you want to leave that smooth is because you see how that corkscrews or drives itself in there, because it twists in, see, and so if you cut it smooth, it twists right in there. Okay, so that's another reason to use it. I don't know why. I just, I try to do everything simple, but you could, if you cut it with a hacksaw, you got it. Don't get near the end and twist it out, because then you'll booger it up and you can't get it on correctly. Actually, first, I got carried away. I need to put on, you'll have the nut back here, the lock nut, and you'll have this. So you'll have the lock nut, and you'll have this. You have to, and that's another reason you want it straight. So this stuff slides on smooth and easy. So that's another reason of a good place for a zip disc. So it screws right in, and that goes in there. Slide it up. And whoop. Go ahead and slide that off, get that out of the way. Get a couple pair of channel locks here. Always good to have a couple pair of channel locks handy. So I've got a pair of 420s that I have and 440s. Those two pair right there, you can just do just about anything you need. Two most common pair to have. Whoever invented the channel lock made a lot of money. Actually, I need a hole here. Okay, we're in. We'll go ahead and finish feeding the wire through. And the nice thing about it is, if I have to add some more, try to get this straight here. Here we go. If I have to cut some more off, it's easy to undo it, because once that's been tightened, it's not like a one and done. You can loosen it to get everything else in there. Now I know the white wire is long. That one. I can see the other one. Another good reason to have these forceps. I can see the other one right here. There we go. Another handy reason to have forceps. So we've got our wires, we've got them stripped down. Well, actually we need to strip these down here. So because I've got a long, I'm going to cut that clean again. And I'm not cutting but about maybe a 1/4 inch off the end of these wires here. Okay. And I am going to ohm and mark out so that I know when I connect to there, because this is going to connect the motor to the panel, that I know, okay, the white wire goes to whatever there, this wire, and this wire. This is where it would be handy to have, and I don't have it, but different colored electrical tape for marking things. So, but what I am going to do for future reference, I'm going to use my labeler, and I'm going to put 1, 2, and 3 and just name whatever with an ohm meter, and I'll do that off camera and show you guys. Create some labels and put on here that say 1, 2, and 3 on each end, so that I know, okay, this is leg 1, this is leg 2, this is leg 3. So I'm going to create success for myself in the future. To make this easy. This pretty heavy gauge wire here, multi-strand. There we go. All right. And so we will have one end will be fastened inside, the other will be at the motor. I think that should be long enough to do what I need to do with everything. Let's glance over here and see. I'll go ahead and move the camera around so you guys can get a look at what's going on with everything. I may end up shortening this a little more off camera. So what we have over here, you guys can see where I've got it mounted. I will zoom in a little bit. And of course that light has to be right in the way. Okay. You know what? Let me just... There. Alright. So, we have got everything in here as it should be, or needs to be. This is going to come up on this side because this is going to go to the motor. Again, we're not plugged into anything. The cord is right here. Okay, so the motor's going to sit down there. We'll go ahead and slide this in and get our... Okay. Start getting everything ready in here. That way I can get the length onto... I know how much I need to go ahead and cut off of the cable, which the white one is way too long. That's going to be our ground for this circuit, because that's how it was set up on the old one. Okay. Fun, fun, fun. We'll see once we get it all in. So we know our white one is already going to go into ground here. We'll go ahead and hook that in. Alright, set ourselves up for success. Because that's how it was set up in the other phase converter. They were using white as a ground. And I've still got to hook these legs up here too. So we'll slide that in there and tighten it in. Okay, and I know for a fact green ground has to come over from this one. Alright. So we'll go ahead and attach that. Rotate it around. It has to go in there as well. I'll actually twist them both together. Sorry if I'm blocking your view. I'm trying to get this to where you guys can see everything, but you get the point. We'll go ahead and connect both our ground wires and slide them in. Trying to see what we're putting on. Okay, that's a really, really, really long lug, so you got to back it out really far. I thought I had it out too far. So that's nice. Generally, some of these lugs that I've dealt with in the past are really short. This one's not. And we're in. So our grounds are in. So this is going to give us time. I've got to, pull these wires up, and I'm going to figure out, because I am going to cut some more off of this, because this is not going to be long enough for what I need. Or if this is going to be too long, I need to allow the wires, and I'm trying to reuse what I've got rather than waste something. So there you go. I will back the camera out. So lots of neat stuff going on. Some of this stuff, sorry, I am going to show you as much as I can on camera with everything. I'm going to sit down and double check with the book what wires need to go which leg, like leg 1, 2, and 3, and then the ground and how they hook to the motor in here. So that's in the manual. I'm going to go through, and that'll be the next episode. It'll be, we're wiring everything in, so I'll do that other stuff off camera. So thanks for watching. I hope this has been helpful, and again, I'm trying to make this as simple and as easy for anybody. If you guys get a phase converter from American Rotary, so this will be a really simple, layman's terms tutorial. Again, other than like the stuff I talked about that I do off camera, I'm doing everything on camera so you guys know that I'm not skipping a step other than trimming basic stuff or whatever. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Stand by for episode 3, and we'll continue on. There we go. Look for the information down at the bottom on how to contact American Rotary. If you have any questions, contact Chris Favel. Take care of yourself and take care of your family, because remember, at the end of the day, you and your family is all you got. Until next time, you guys be safe. Get out in the shop and make some chips. We'll talk to you in a little bit. Bye-bye.